So today we celebrate a fairly new memorial in the liturgical year, Mary, the Mother of the Church. And there's any number of readings that could have been chosen. These are good. Some others that would be good for this memorial would be like the wedding feast at Cana, where Mary takes a very active role to take care of the party. She's exercising a motherly role like that. And there's a passage in the book of Revelation about Mary gives birth to the Redeemer. The devil's waiting to gobble him up, but he's taken up to God, clearly Jesus. And then it says she escapes to the desert, and the devil proceeds to make war on the rest of her offspring. So that's a pretty clear image of Mary as being mother of the church. All Christians are, in a sense, her offspring. Today, the gospel from the cross, famous passage, behold your mother. This is seen as Jesus giving Mary to us as our mother. And I've heard people talk about the role of Mary in a way that seems a little exaggerated. Like they'll say things like, in fact, I even heard somebody say this, well, you have to go to Mary to get to Jesus. It's like, no. I mean, God is pleased to work through his saints, and his own human mother is probably the greatest of all the saints. So sure, we can, but it's not like you have to go through Mary to get to Jesus. That seems almost a slight to the Lord himself. You would think Jesus had said to John, behold your mother, and if you have any problems, talk to her, don't bother me with it. But Jesus didn't say anything like that, did he? And yet, the motherhood of Mary for the whole church seems to me to just be a very natural thing. Of course she would have a very motherly concern for the other disciples, the followers of her son. She surely had gotten to know them pretty well, because she was frequently in touch with what was going on in Jesus' company during his ministry, and she would have been in very direct personal contact with his disciples, almost on a daily basis. So it seems totally natural that when they are all gathered in the upper room praying for the Holy Spirit, Mary was right there in the midst of them. So I think that's to be expected. It kind of reminds me of when I was a kid, and maybe some of you have had this experience. Where I was growing up, it was kind of a newer neighborhood in southern Beaver Creek. And so there was a lot of youngish families with kids around our age. So there was a lot of running around, spontaneous play, games in the empty lots, that kind of stuff. And an awful lot of the mothers were working at home. I don't say working from home for, LexisNexis or the Department of Defense, but they were working at home. I think they saw themselves and their role as the creators and keepers of civilization. Stay-at-home moms. And I remember there was a number of moms in the neighborhood who, it was like their home was an open door for all the neighborhood kids, The friends of my kids are like my kids too. And so there were various homes, some not so much. There was a house across the street we would not set foot in, even though we played with their kids in our yard or in the empty lots. But you know what I'm talking about. There were certain kinds of women who you're all playing in the yard and you all come in for Kool-Aid, that kind of thing. Just this maternal care for all the neighborhood kids. And a number of these stay-at-home moms sort of had that attitude. So, I mean, there's no replacing the nuclear family, but there is some truth to what someone said, that it takes a village to raise a child, okay? It doesn't take a village, but a village is very helpful when all these moms are looking after all the kids. Can you imagine how much more it was like that in those times? These small villages where everybody knew everybody else for generations, and the kids running around Nazareth had any number of mothers. And I think Mary probably had them all in for Kool-Aid if they had Kool-Aid in those days. It would have been that kind of a culture, I think. And so what could be more natural and supernatural? Because God created our human nature so that by living in this world, we are living, knowing, encountering something of God's love for us. And Mary expresses that. And so what could be more natural and supernatural than that Mary would have a mother's heart, not just for her son, but her son's friends, followers, everybody associated with him through all of time, including us. So I guess what I'm thinking of today, when I'm thinking of Mary as the mother of the church, this is sort of the image I have in mind. You know, she's like the great neighborhood mom of all time, you know. And if we are in the church, she's our mom as well as your own mom at home. And I think it's a beautiful thing how God has arranged that. And that's the true glory of Mary. Well, how her motherly heart gets dignified by God, you know, and raised to a spiritual and supernatural level. So, you know, this is a kind of a new feast I've never quite known what to do with. I mean, we already have so many memorials and feasts about Mary, but the more I keep talking here this morning, the more I'm liking it. But at some point, I'm going to have to shut up and sit down. But at any rate, that's my vision of Mary, mother of the church. The neighborhood mom bumped up to a supernatural level. So, and while I'm at it, I may as well thank the moms here for being the creators and guardians of civilization. Thank you very much.